Good morning, everyone. I'm very sorry that I cannot be with you today since I'm traveling for work, but I'm happy to be the one to be delivering the special note on this module. Module 5, it's one of the modules that it's more concrete that I'm applying with all the countries I'm supporting every day. I want to focus on the ones that are for me the most important slides on that module, the most important messages. One is regarding the extension of time. So you should know that within the framework of the WTO TFA, there is the possibility, you have to notify definitive dates of implementation. Once you have notified those definitive dates, which was done by Egypt in time, so there might be a moment where you think that you are not able to implement one of the measures. Let's be frank, according to your notifications, you are supposed to implement 20, I think it's 24 out of 26 measures by the end of 2025. This is in the next 2 years. And this is a lot, it's 2/3 of the agreement. So there might be chances that you manage many of them, but there might be occasions where you will feel that you are not going to arrive to have everything ready by the deadline. In this case, the role of the NTFC is very important. You should meet to discuss what is the implementation status and make sure that 4 months before, even no, the latest 4 months before the deadline, so you have to send it before, let's say 6 months to be on the safe side, you have to send a notification with a request for extending the time of implementation. The reason for that could be that you haven't got the support from partners, etc. If you request an extension of a measure of 18 months, 1.5 years, then this will be automatically be granted if it's the first time for that particular measure. If you request more time, then the committee will have to decide. Of course, if you haven't received any support for this measure, there is no obligation to implement the measure since you put them in category C. What is very important and what we are seeing at the WTO TFA committee is that certain countries are very, very exigent on developing and least developed countries to comply by the deadlines for submission of the notifications. So, good news, within the reform tracker, which is one monitoring tool for implementation of the agreement that we are going to be working with Egypt when it's set up. There is a system that will send you an automatic notification at least 7 months before the deadline to make sure that you prepare such a notification in time and trigger the meeting of the NTFC that will make sure if to consider whether you are going to be in time with the implementation and to prepare that notification. This is part of our usual work with countries. So there is no problem. We will be helping you in the upcoming years preparing of these notifications if the time comes. Another notification that is due for Egypt are the notifications on the technical arrangements. So these notifications are quite important, and once we have set up the reform tracker, it will be very easy for us to work with you to draft those notifications so that you can send them to the WTO TFA. These notifications, what they say is that you explain to the WTO TFA committee for which measures you are getting help from who, and for which measures you are still looking for some help, and what exactly do you need. And this is really important because it's the first step to be able to access to the WTO grants and also to request support from the WTO to find partners that will help you in the implementation. So these are very important notifications. that need to be put in place. You have also the transparency notifications that are related to Article 1 of the agreement that will have to be submitted once those measures are implemented, and also regarding the single window when it's done, and some others as well, like Customs Cooperation, who is the Customs Cooperation Coordinator. Apart from all of this, there are another series of information that is very important to send to the WTO and that they are often forgotten. One is the contact point of the NTFC, the contact point for donor coordination, the transit coordinator, which is one figure that appears in Article 1117 that you will see in the upcoming modules. We will talk about this, so it's quite important as well. So there are all these little notifications that you need to prepare and that you need to submit to the WTO TFA. And we are very happy to be working with you, and we are going to support you on those drafting in anything that that might need to happen. So again, very important to consider these things. And just say, no, see, there is another important thing to mention is that you can shift, according to Article 19 of the agreement, you can shift from category B to category C. And this can be done through a notification as well when needed. But I think in your case, since you have a lot of measures already in category C, I don't think that you're going to use that one so much. Don't be afraid, there are 41 countries in the world that have already used the extension of time. So it's something that is very regular. And we're seeing it a lot in the committee. And finally, something very important, actually, because this is a misunderstanding that occurs a lot. Many countries, at some point, they say, okay, Arantxa, we have implemented this measure. How do we put it in category A? Well, you never put a measure in category A. Only when we started all the notifications, you were able to put some in category A. Once the measure has been implemented, you don't need to do anything. By the time of the deadline, you will, the WTO will consider that this has been done, even if it's not the case. They're not going to check, they're not going to do anything, but you now are supposed to be done with it. So that's why deadlines are so important, right? To make sure this is really the case. However, if you have implemented a measure well before the deadline of implementation, we encourage countries to notify about it, to just inform the WTO through a notification. You don't say, I'm in category A now. This you don't say, you just say, I have fully implemented this measure. And this is very important because it shows that you are committed to trade facilitation, that you are working for the implementation of the agreement, and it gives a very good image of the country when countries are implementing some measures. Also, it gives you the possibility, or let's say, the good image in case you have to require an extension of deadline for other measures to say, okay, I haven't been able to do this one on time, but I have done this one ahead of time. So it's quite important to keep that good balance into showing that you are progressing, even if some delays might occur. Overall conclusion, never be late with the notifications. With the reform tracker, we will make sure that this is not the case, and we are here to support you with all these different technicalities. So don't worry, and we are an email away always, as you know. Good luck with the rest of the module, and see you next week. Thank you.